Hey, 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 good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about goals, specifically how to draft goals and craft your future. And I love this topic because what we're talking about today is thinking about the potential, believing that things can change from where they are right now to where they're going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, and that we get to think about those things and then have a road map to get there. So we have the first video is only about 4 minutes today, and then we have, I think, a 15-minute video after that. But we're going to get into this because this is some incredible, amazing stuff as we dream about the future and plan on how we're going to make it a reality. So hold on one second.
Okay, let's do the workshop now on setting goals, developing a good plan for the next 10 years, especially some of the things you want to accomplish. Let our dreams pull us through, our objectives sustain us, get us up early, keep us up late, all right, drive us to do the disciplines, read the books, take the classes, study, whatever is necessary. If the dreams are strong enough and the purpose is strong enough, we will pay the price. Then after we've accomplished, here's what you'll say: small price to pay. Okay, so let's go to work. Entitle this part of it now, Workshop. And under the workshop, I'm going to ask a series of questions, and it's going to serve as a model so that you can teach this to your children, you can teach it in classes, you can teach it anywhere. And give you the question first, and then give you time to work the exercise, okay? So you jot down the question and then work the exercise. Under the workshop now, here's the first question. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? Let's take some credit before we go to work on the future. We've accomplished some things in the past. Let's give ourselves credit for that. When you're working with kids, this is important. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? So I want you to make a note of that question, and then I want you to do the exercise. Make a list of 5 things that you can think of you've already accomplished that you're proud of. I graduated 3rd in my high school class. I was really proud of that. It took a lot of hard work. Now, if there's only 3, it's not that great. You got that now? A list of 5 things you've already accomplished that you're proud of. Sometimes even for kids, you have to do a little coaching. You know, sports or school or whatever. Did you win a blue ribbon? Did you come in first? So this is part of this format, is to do a little coaching to help people, you know, get through these exercises. Okay, 5 things you've already accomplished that you're proud of. Okay, now here's the next exercise, and this is going to take some time. Next question. What do you want in the next 10 years? I want you to make a list of at least 50 items. Now, this is not what you think you can get. This is what you want. If everything fell into place and you could have anything you wanted in the next 10 years, what would that list be? Not something you think you can earn, not something you think you can buy, not something you think you can, you know, finally be so successful you can get. This is what would really do it for you the next 10 years. I want you to make this list. And here's the deal now. I want you to put each item one under the other, not side by side, but one under the other. And make as long a list as you possibly can in the time I'm going to give you. One underneath the other, because we're going to do some things with this list when you finish. Okay? Just start writing now as fast as you can. Abbreviate where you can. Make a longer list. If something's private, put it in code so nobody can figure it out if they got a hold of this list. One underneath the other. As fast as you can write. Just let your dreams, okay, run free here. Not what you think you can get, but what you want. If everything fell into place and you could have whatever you wanted the next 10 years, what would that be? Little things, major things. insignificant things, doesn't matter. Just make the list. Okay, now we're going to do some things with this list. Here's the next exercise. I want you to look at each item on this list you've made and give each item a number. The number being a 1, 3, 5, or 10. And this is why. I want you to look at an item and say, I think that would take about 1 year. Another item, you say, I think that would take about 3 years. Another item, I think that would take 5. And another item, looks like that's going to take 10. Give each item now a number, what you think it might take to achieve that goal, a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10. Just somewhere close, doesn't have to be exact. That's about a 1, that's about a 3-year goal, that's about a 5-year goal, that's about a 10-year. If it's less than 1 year, just make it a year. If it's more than 10, just make it 10. 10 plus. Just approximate 1, 3, 5, 10. If you finish early, you can add some more to your list. Running a marathon. Now, as soon as you've given each item a number, I want you to now go through and count them. How many 1s, how many 3s, how many 5s, how many 10s? And then just make a little list of those numbers. How many 1s, 3s, 5s, 10s? This is going to be interesting. Now, I'd like to have a woman and a man volunteer to give me your tabulator list. How many 1s, 3s, 5s, and 10s? Right out here in the center somewhere. Yes, sir. Would you stand up and give me your numbers? How many 1s? How many 3s? 12 3s? 17 5s? Thank you very much. Now that's a bit unusual. How many of you had no 10-year goals? Okay, quite a few, right? Isn't that interesting? Here's what that means. You're not thinking out that far. You're thinking more short-term than long-term. So the number you had, what was it again on 10-year goals? 14. See, that's... If someone had 0, someone had 14, that's a lot of difference in thinking long range. So that's all that's for, is just to help you to think more long range. Now, I need a woman to give me a list. Yes, ma'am. How many 1s? What is it? 23. Wow, that's pretty good. How many 1s did you have, sir? 7. Isn't that interesting? Okay, 3s, how many 3s? 16 3s, 5s, 7, and 10s. 10 10s. Wow, you've been busy. Okay. She's done this workshop before, so she knew what was coming. See, that's pretty good. But now you get what I'm talking about? No 10-year goals means you're not thinking out quite that far. And it wouldn't hurt, you know, within the next year to start stretching on out there 10, 15, 20 years away. What you'd like to be accomplishing, what you'd like to have when that time frame finally rolls around. Okay. Now, make these notes. When you've accomplished some goals, you need some more to accomplish. Next, it's very important when you reach a goal that's significant or important to you to celebrate. So just jot that down. Celebrate a significant accomplishment. Or it doesn't have to be that significant. If it's important to you, it doesn't have to be world-changing or life-changing. If it's just a goal that's really important to you, you finally reached it, celebrate. Now, hopefully on your list of goals, you had some family goals. And if the family together finally reaches a goal, jot this down, celebrate with the family. And if you're checking it off, let each member of the family put their check mark on this goal because the whole family worked on this one. Now, here's what this will do. It will help each member of your family to make a longer list of goals. Wow, if we can accomplish this, think of what else we could do. The same is true of you individually. When you accomplish something, check it off, celebrate. It'll help you to grab your list, wherever it is, and say, hey, if I can get here, I can double that original list. So celebration creates excitement to develop a longer list. You also need goals ongoing. When the early astronauts went to the moon, some of them, when they came back from the moon, had psychological problems. Some of them drank too much, got into other difficulties. And one of the reasons is, where do you go now that you've been to the moon? So here's what they did later. They made sure that the astronauts later who came back from the moon had plenty of projects to keep them busy after they had been to the moon. And the same is true of you and me. Goals, after you've reached them, another list. After you've reached those, another list. My father lived to be 93. You can't imagine the goals he had. One of his goals when he was 92 was to get his driver's license renewed. Guess what he got it renewed for? 4 years. At age 92, he got his driver's license renewed for 4 years. Now, he didn't live long enough to, if he'd have thought about it more, I think he would have lived 2 or 3 more years just to make sure he filled all that out. So he only lived to be 93, but at 92, got my driver's license renewed for 4 years. You can't imagine. He used to show his driver's license. Unbelievable. So, goals to replace goals that you've achieved, on and on. The rest of your life. Because the philosophy we discussed yesterday was what? How far should you go? As far as you can. How many books should you read? As many as you can. How many friends should you make? As many as you can. How much should you earn? As much as you can. That's it. What should you try to be? All you possibly can. And that's the purpose of this exercise, is just to stretch you, get you to think, get you to wonder, get you to ponder. Now here's the next exercise. Okay, jot down the question. On your list of 1-year goals, which are the 4 most important? Of your 1-year goals, which are the 4 most important? So now I want you to go back over your 1-year goals and pick out the 4 most important. Now, if you've only got 4 now, this is an easy exercise. But you might add some more to your 1-year list if you haven't got enough. And then pick out the 4 most important. This is what turned me on at age 25. Goals for accomplishment and personal progress. Once the fires were lit for me, I'm telling you, they have never gone out. Since I was 25 years old, no one has ever said to me, when are you going to get going? When are you going to get off the couch? When are you going to get off the dime? I've never heard that since I was 25 and got all this taken care of. Wow. Here's what I've heard since I was 25. When are you going to slow down? You can't visit that many countries. You're going to have a heart attack and die. By the way, you might stop and jot these notes down. Here's two excellent questions to jot down. And this is for mature people now, because these are kind of tough questions. especially one. Here's the first question. What's got you turned on? That's a good list to make. Here's what's got me turned on. Here's what's got me up early, staying up late, maximizing my abilities all day long. Here's the list of what's got me turned on. Now here's the next question. What's got you turned off? How come you don't have the zest and the vitality and the appetite for daily accomplishment? I started making a list of the things that had me turned off. And once I got that settled, and then started making a list of what had me turned on and what would turn me on in the future, I'm telling you, my life has never been the same. It was like a revolution, a personal revolution, a 180-degree turn. Wow. I can't say it's strong enough. It's easy to get lazy in designing the day and designing the year and designing the future and designing what you want to accomplish and just cross your fingers and hope it'll all work out, that the favorable winds will blow it all your way. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. So this is part of the exercise. It's just, buckling down, making this list. And you got to continue this long after we've, turned out the lights and we've all gone home. Keep this up. And one of the best ways to keep it up, I've already covered yesterday, is what? Teach it. The key is to teach it. Jan was right. You don't need recognition. Just go give everybody you can think of that deserves it recognition. And your own self-satisfaction is recognition enough. If they never put a crown on your head, who cares? Okay, now here's the next exercise. This will take now just a little bit of time. And the question is why? Why are those 4 goals important to you? Because the why is very important. And I'm going to give you some notes on that a little bit later. So just start a little paragraph. Why those 4 goals are important to you. A couple of more minutes for this one. And then we'll put a little star there that says continue this later. Then I have some more notes for you to take. A couple more minutes. Why? This is a good question to ask kids. Kids said, here's what I'd like to have. And you say, why is that? And if they can start describing the why. So now make these notes. Put a little star there now. And that star means that, you can add to it later. So make these notes now. Here's the first one. When the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. When the why gets big, powerful, strong, how seems to be so much easier. Without a strong enough why, the how seems to be too difficult almost to accomplish. See, how do you manage your time? Hey, if you had strong and powerful enough goals, you'd figure out how to manage your time. You'd get a book on the subject. You'd do something to manage your time if it was worth it. If it's not worth it, why would you bother studying the art of managing your time if it really doesn't matter? But if it really mattered in the accomplishment of your goals and why you wish to accomplish them, see, you can do anything. You can get up any hour, read any book, take any class, make any change, develop any skill, do any discipline. I mean, you can do it all when this how and the why, or when the why starts to grow. The how gets simple. Excellent question to ask children. Why? What for? Little note. Maybe one of your goals was to have $1 million home on the hill overlooking Snake River Valley. Okay. That'd be a good goal. $1 million home. Here's the next question. What for? What for? I mean, a house is a house is a house with bricks and wood and walls and roof. The key, yes, $1 million home, that'd be wonderful, but what for? So now jot this down. Purpose is stronger than object. The object would be the house, and that'll pull. That's a worthy goal to go for, the object of the house. But here's a stronger goal, the purpose for the $1 million home. You say, well, it'll be the centerpiece of all the family's activity. with all kinds of unique people coming and going, and the influence and things will be happening in this place. See, now we're getting somewhere. So if you got that line, it's one of my best for the whole day. Purpose is stronger than object. It's okay to have plenty of objects to go for on your goal list. But always keep asking yourself the question, and sometimes it's good to just write it out. Here's why I want this money. Here's why I want this place. Here's why. And you start developing those reasons. And I'm telling you now, this starts to become incredibly powerful. Okay. Now here's some more notes. Some of your goals should be personal development. The person you wish to become. Develop skills that make you attractive to the marketplace. Develop the temperament and the attitude that makes you attractive to the business world. The attitude and the temperament that makes you a splendid father, studying the art. Because here's what's important. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. I keep saying this year after year for the last 39 years publicly. It's the person you become. I admired my friend Mark Hughes for the fortune he made and the company he built. Guess what I admired more? The person he became in a short 44 years. He was unique. He bought the idea at age 19 of personal development and worked on it daily from that day until the time he died. The idea of becoming an attractive person, a skillful person, a good friend, a good colleague, a good partner, a good member of the round table, a contributor. See, that's the key, the person you become. Okay, now here's the next exercise. Isn't this good stuff? I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff changed my life, altered the course of my life. From milking cows to sitting on this stool. Incredible. What a journey. And part of the explosive stimulation started when I met Earl Schoaf. And he asked me, have you got a list of goals? And I said, no. He said, then I can guess your bank balance. I thought, whoa. I immediately started studying the art. And the art and the accomplishments of it helped to change my life and qualified me to come and speak to you. You got to be qualified, right? Invite 1,000 people to come and hear what you've got to say. It's unbelievable. But all of this journey, happened for me.
Awesome. So I want you guys, first of all, before we continue, I just want to say that don't skip by this. There is something that is so important about goal setting, and you have to take the time and you have to sit down. I know the first time I went through this exercise, I hit like 10 goals and I was like, 50? Come up with 50 things? I was like, I'm stretching my brain to come up with 10, right? But just spend time thinking about it, thinking about places you want to go, things you want to achieve, family goals, spiritual goals, personal development goals, success goals, business goals, all that stuff. And as you just open your mind, you'll start to, and you don't have to stop at 50, but the whole idea is that you get 50 down. So just to recap real quick, I love that at the beginning he says to start with 5 things you've already accomplished, 5 things that you're proud of that you've already done, because what that does is that gives you the confidence and the faith that if you've accomplished things already in your life, then of course you can accomplish more things in your life, because look how far you've already come. Look what you've already done. And so have those 5 things to remind you that goals are possible and that you can accomplish them. And then the 50, and take as long as it takes, right? Sit down and take as long as it takes, and then go through and put a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10 next to all of those so that you have you're kind of putting them in different categories, how long you believe those will take you. And then you're going to be able to hone in on those 1-year goals and pick the 4 most important. So if you have 15 1-year goals, you might get a little, what if one means you need to go this direction, another one means you need to go this direction. So you have to prioritize those top 4 that you're going to get done in this next year. And so to write those down, and then, of course, as you're checking those off too, this isn't something you just do one time and 10 years goes by, because then you're like, that's when people start retiring, right? You're like, well, I accomplished everything in life. And to me, retirement equals waiting to die, right? Like I'm never going to retire, because what does that mean? That means I'm finished. I'm done. And I don't believe we're ever finished. The song we played at the beginning, this was "You're Not Finished Yet," because I don't think that God's ever finished on us. And I don't think we should ever be finished growing. I love how Jim shared his dad, 92 years old. His goal was get his driver's license renewed, right? And he got it renewed for 4 years. And that was a goal of his. So I think that's great. So you're getting your list of your 1-year goals, which 4 are the most important. And what I love about this is, as you're honing in on this, you're becoming laser focused on the things that are important in your life, and you're keeping them in front of you. I guarantee that spend 100 more hours next year watching movies isn't probably going to show up on your 10-year goal list, or putting in an extra 20 hours a week binging on Netflix probably isn't going to show up in your goal list. So if you have your goal list and you have it in front of you, and you find yourself drifting or going into what I call default mode, then you're able to catch yourself much quicker and go, whoa, I'm not moving ahead. I'm not moving towards my goals. So what's got you disconnected? What's got you turned on? What's got you turned off? Those are 2 really, really good introspective questions to ask yourself, so that you can identify what it is, what's holding you back. And I love that we have, as human beings, we have the ability to turn it all around tomorrow. We have the ability to make new choices and head in a new direction. We can flip a switch, and instead of blaming everything else out there for our lack of success, or our lack of health, or our lack of where we want to be right now, we can take responsibility for it and say, I'm going to do a new thing so that I can have a new result. And that's a very, very empowering day when we take control back and we say, you know what? I'm going to make new choices. I'm not going to let these circumstances, I'm not going to let these people, I'm not going to let all this stuff out there be my excuse anymore for holding me back. I'm going to take those chains off right now, and I'm going to move in a brand new direction. And that is an empowering day. I remember that day for me. I remember the day I was actually in jail that day, right? And I remember the day going, this isn't everyone else's fault that I'm here. It's my fault that I'm here. And because it's my fault that I'm here, I can make new choices so that I can move in a new direction. That was such an empowering day. You can turn the switch anytime out of survival mode into achievement mode. I've seen it. For any of you that have been in this business any length of time, you've seen people on your team, right? Or maybe it's you, where you're just kind of going through the motions, you're kind of doing some things, and then you get yourself turned on, you turn a corner, you flip a switch, and now everything starts to work. I know we have a girl on our team, and she was just kind of going through the motions, right? Going through the motions. And then her dad said, why not try and sign someone up, 1 person a day? And she thought, wow, I never thought about having a goal to sign 1 person up a day. Within 3 months, she was signing 1 person up a day. And he said, well, now that you know you can sign 1 person up a day, why not go for 2 people in a day? She said, yeah, if I could do 1 in a day, surely I can do 2 in a day. Start doing 2 in a day. Promoted to diamond last month, top enroller on our team, did her steps to success 6 times, right? And for over a year, barely did steps to success at all. So it's just, it's all in our head. It's all in our head deciding, every single one of you, if you went home today and there was a note and it said, I've got your children and I've got your husband. Now, of course, if you love your husband or you love your wife, if you got a letter that said they had them and you didn't really care, you just be like, sweet, right? But let's assume you love your children and you love your spouse, and you got that note and it said, hey, I've got them, and you're not going to see them again unless you promote 2 more times in your business, and you have to do it by the end of the year. But you guys would all have it done by the end of this month. I guarantee you, I would put my paycheck on every single one of you, because if you love someone, you have strong feelings now about succeeding, right? You have to do it. There's not There's not a maybe or I'm going to try. It's like, I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done quick because I want my loved ones back, right? If we can get that kind of passion and develop our why to a level where it's that kind of importance, then we can do it. That's the biggest reason why my wife and I have personally had success, is that we just decided that I was done with the military. I wanted to get out of the military, and we were going to put our all into it. We're going to put everything else to the side, and we were going to get it done. So turning that switch from survival into achievement, I talked about already, what are the 4 goals important to you? When the why gets stronger, the how gets easier, right? When the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. So I love, there's a story of the old wise man. He takes his student, and they're walking down along the river, and he asks the student, he says, what is it that you really, really want? And the student says, wisdom. So this wise man grabs his student, and he shoves his head into the water in the river, right? Holds his head down there for a few seconds, and he pulls him up. He says, what is it that you really, really want? And he says, wisdom. He says, okay. And he shoves his head back in the water again a second time, right? Pulls him back up. Asks him one more time, what is it that you really, really want? He said, wisdom. He puts his head under, and this time he holds him down until he's just flopping and just about to give up. And he holds him up. He says, what is it that you really want? And the guy says, air, air, air. I want air. And then he says, when you want wisdom as bad as you want air, you'll find it. So when your goals are important enough to you, you'll accomplish them, because everyone does. And that's just the bottom line. The other question to really make it strong is what for? You want a new house? Great. What's he say? Purpose is stronger than object. I love that phrase. Purpose is stronger than object, because of course we want to lose 20 pounds, right? Of course we want, but why? Do you want to lose 20? Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Do you want to lose 20 pounds because you want to show your children that it can be done, and that mom has the resolve and the commitment, and you want to ingrain that in your kids that anything is possible? See, now it becomes bigger, doesn't it, than just saying, I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to look better. Great. That's a great start. But why? What was the purpose behind losing 20 pounds? What will that, do you want to lose 20 pounds because your spouse said, you've told me 10 times you're going to lose 20 pounds and you're not going to do it. You could never do that. Okay, buddy, let's get it done so you can show, let's build that strong purpose. And then the last thing I'll share is it's not what you get that makes you valuable. See, I think sometimes when we start and we're writing down goals, it's what we want, right? It's that fleshly, oh, I want a new car. I want a new house. I want to be debt free. I want. I want to have Grey Poupon every day, and I want to have people fanning me and feeding me grapes. Yay, right? So we start with what we want, right? And that's a piece of the goals. It's great to have stuff, and it's great to have nice things, right? Because we want to provide those things. I mean, I have horses for my wife and daughter, and all kinds of, we've gotten this stuff, but it's not what you get. It's not the stuff that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. It's what you become and that you can offer and that you can give away. That's what really makes you valuable. So, hey, I hope you guys all take this seriously and don't stop until you have 50 things written down, and do this with your kids, do this with your spouse. Come up with your 4 family goals that you guys are going to attack in 2019, because what I know is 1 year from now, you could have 4 things you barely believe for that you want to accomplish in 2019, and you barely believe it now. And 1 year from now, you'll be looking back going, wow, we did it. We actually did it. So I just want to infuse that hope in you and help you guys to understand that the things that you barely think are possible are going to happen in this next year if you just get very intentional about moving in a direction to make them happen. So I want to bring Mr. and Mrs. Tay and Carrie Young on here to hear your thoughts. Hey, are you guys excited for going through this exercise and setting these goals?
You go first.
She don't want it. Yeah, I'm excited. I think I've been excited since you invited me to the first one with the John Wood, because I'm always just looking for opportunities, really just invest in myself so I can just go out and just pour what I learned into others. And I think it's, for me, it's just paying it forward. I think it was just so much good here, and I think you did a great job of just covering a lot of the things. The thing I would say that stuck out to me probably the most was in the first video. He said, if the purpose is strong enough, you will pay the price. And I just thought about, you know, when I first started my journey, like it wasn't that, you know, I just wanted change, and it was just something that was going to happen to me. Like I want to change. Like when I say like I prayed next to my wife and I cried, like it was a feeling that I attached to that change. And once I attached that feeling to that change, it was something that I decided like this day moving forward, I'm going to become that person. So I started paying the price, not with money. Like I started paying the price with my time, knowing like my time is a seed that I'm going to plant, and I'm going to continue to water that seed. So for me, like watering that seed is waking up every morning, being intentional about my time. Like, who am I going to feed? Am I going to feed the person who I want to become, or am I going to feed that person of the past? So for me, instead of just jumping up, getting on social media, just checking what is this person doing, what is this person doing, like I got up and I fed my mind. Like when he said stand guard at the door of your mind, that's what I did each morning. Like I welcome the good thoughts into my mind. I welcome God's word into my mind. I welcome personal development into my mind. So for me, like when he said the price you pay, like you have to think about, you're not paying like in like money, like you're paying with your time, you're paying with the intent, your intentions, you're paying with who you surrounding yourself with. So for me, I just thought that was I thought that was just so important. And another thing that I love when he said, when the why gets stronger, the how get easier. Because like when I started, I had no idea like how these changes was gonna happen. But the thing I knew, like I didn't have to know that. You know, once I prayed and I opened that door, like the resources poured out. Like I would say, like after I decided that I wanted that change, it was crazy that I actually went that next week and retired from my job. I retired from my job, and then I just retired from football. And after I did those two things, the thing that let me know like I was really walking in purpose was I went to a men's retreat where I surrounded myself with the right people. So I transitioned from being in an environment that I didn't think was healthy for me to surrounding myself with guys like Chad, Joel, and Quinn Conway, guys that's like, they're where I want to be in life, and they're like start pouring into me. So once I made that decision, not only did, you know, I changed my mind, but I changed my environment. I surrounded myself with the right people, the people that wasn't going to be telling me, hey, your wife's a breadwinner. No, I was surrounding myself with people, men who was telling me, hey, you're made for more. I know you've accomplished these things, but there's so much more that you haven't done, and I'm going to help you get to that point. So I think once I decided, like, hey, this is something that I want, then I just welcome the right people in my life, and I just surrounded myself with the right people. And if I could leave you one thing, I think for me, the reason I do it is I read your book this weekend, Chad. It was just
you read it in like a day.
Yeah, I read it in a day. I was like, I'm just gonna sit down and read it. And once I picked, like, I literally could not put it down, because for me, it was just like reading your story. Like I heard bits and pieces of your story, but I read the book, and I like really got the full detail of everything that you've been through. And the one thing that, you know, just consistently came to mind, because you kept repeating in the book, was your friend Josh. He told you if you would change, everything would change for you. And that just been ringing in my head. And I went through a situation this weekend where the devil just got in my head, and he knows where to attack me. And like, I just shut down emotionally. And Carrie knew it. She was like, you're not talking. And she was like, for her, she was like, I just need to give you your time. And the thing that I learned about that, he attacked me in areas that, you know, I couldn't defend myself. Like he just left these thoughts in my head. And, you know, yesterday I decided, like, I got this quote that I've been reading this Chad's book, and it said, if you would change, everything would change for you. So I decided, like, hey, like he's not the voice that's going to speak into my life. Like there's a voice that's higher than his. There's a voice that had already conquered these things that he's trying to tell me. So what I did was went back to the YouVersion Bible, and I had plans that I started before that I didn't finish. And the crazy thing about these plans was it's lined up exactly to like the thoughts that I was having. It was telling me like, you are a child of God, you are a conqueror. And it was telling like, you have to deafen that voice of the things that he's trying to speak to you. And you got to sit still and listen to the right voice, which is the voice of God. And once I did that, I realized like I don't have to isolate myself to this problem. And I opened up and I talked to Carrie about that problem. I think once I did that, it was me just letting him know, like, you don't have me alone. You don't have me cornered. I have the right people into my life where you can't isolate me anymore like you used to. So for me, just deciding like, hey, I'm not going to sit here and let him just beat up on my mind. Like, I'm going to make the change. I'm going to step out and get the things that I need so I can redirect my mind and focus on, you know, what God has called me into. So I just thought that was so important. And I just thought it was just so crazy that it just came where I picked up, like, I could have easily read your book right after the men's retreat. I just had a feeling this weekend, like, I need to sit down and read this book. And once I did, that simple quote that it was in the book, if you would just change, everything would change for you. Like I put that, I deposited that into my bank account. And like right when I needed it, like it just came up and it was like, hey, you don't have to sit here in this pity party. Like if you would just change your mindset, everything would change for you. And I just love that. And I just use that as an example. So just thank you for everything you do, man. I just love that book. And I just love your story that you tell in that book. And I just love the fact that you're not just writing that book and just let it stay stagnant. Like what you did, what you posted yesterday about helping the guy at the car shop and just giving him that book was a reminder that, you know, hey, I did this one support, and it wasn't just to write this book. This is the way I live my life. And just to see you just go out and continue to do these things for me, like that's an inspiration. Like, hey, you don't have to make this a one-time deal. Like if you want to become this person, continue to do the things that make you happy, and you'll continue to help others just continue to pay it forward. So for me, I just look to being a contributor to the world and just paying for everything that you've instilled in me just through your leadership skills and the way you enjoy live your life, man. So just thank you all for everything you do, and just continue to be a hope for everybody in this world.
Oh, that's so good.
I guess two things that I really liked about the, you know, when the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. And I think that's true every time, because I remember when I, you know, promoted to, you know, Diamond the first time, I just wanted to quit my job, and that was it. You know, I didn't have any why stronger than that. So I sat at Diamond for, you know, a year or a little over a year. And it wasn't until I had Riley that I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like this crazy why when you have a child. And that gave me the motivation that I need to, you know, go ambassador, you know, really in a year after that. And so, yes, that really, and it just was easy. It just like flew, you know, I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was easy because I had just this strong why that I was just willing to do whatever it took. And then the second one is I had this quote on my computer for a long time. It says, become a millionaire. It was from Jim Rohn too. Become a millionaire, not for the person not for the money, but for the person that you have to become. So he said that again about becoming who you're going to become in order to get the things that you want to achieve. And we became a millionaire, you know, we did it. And I ended up taking the quote down because I was like, now I got to be now. And now I ask myself, you know, who do I have to become a billionaire? You know, like and then we were like, when we had looked at houses, you know, maybe like a couple months ago, I said, what kind of person do I have to become to live in, you know, $1 million house or a $2 million house or a $3 million, or who do I have to become to live in Pam's house? You know, really, like you have to, when you start asking those questions, I think you start, you know, okay, well then you can come up with like a growth plan, or or what kind of thoughts am I thinking about money, and what kind of thoughts do they think about money? And so you really like start to, because you have to change in order to get to where you want to be. And so, yeah, it's just like, I thought that was so good. I was like, yeah. So I always ask myself that now, who do we have to become? It's no longer like, oh, we want these things, but who do we have to become to get there? Because we already know that we have to become a new person to get there.
So good. So good, man. I just love you guys. Just so much of what you said there. And I love, you know, what you reminded me of, Carrie, was when Darren Hardy earlier in this, you know, a couple of modules ago, whatever, when he talks about writing down what he wanted what he wanted to see in his wife, all the characteristics and the traits and all that. And then he said, okay, what would a woman like that want in her man? And he wrote down all that list, and he's like, big problem here. I'm not that guy yet. I have to become that guy to attract that woman. And so that's exactly what you're talking about right there. So that is so good, man. You guys are just, love you guys. Congratulations, Carrie and Tay, on a triple diamond for your third time too, with your 2.0 spot. That is huge. Congratulations on that. And I'm going to bring one more person on here real quick. I understand if you have to jump off, so we try and keep this around 45 minutes, which right now is about 45 minutes, but I saw her on here, so I always never want to pass up an opportunity. So Noelle Cruz, what are your thoughts today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, my thoughts are, I cannot wait to watch this back when I have a pen and a paper and I can like do the exercise. I'm so stinking excited to actually just sit down and goal set. But like just really quick, because I know we have like a minute, but the thing that came to my mind was my father-in-law. So my father-in-law was an E8 in the Army. He spoke 4 languages. He was getting his master's degree with plans to get his PhD. I mean, he worked out 1 to 2 times a day. He took care of himself, like just super, super, like, you know, very, very intentional about his body and his mind. He would read, you know, no less than a book a week. And he was just brilliant and very, very well respected. Well, he got deployed, and, you know, one of many, many deployments, he was always somewhere, and he got Lyme disease in Iraq. And he came home, and it was years later that he had a massive stroke. And he knew that he was going to have a stroke. He literally went in and he increased his life insurance policy because he thought he was going to die. He didn't know what was wrong with him, but he thought he was going to die. And so he went in and he increased his life insurance policy, and he had this massive stroke. And they said he should have died, but he didn't. And now I feel like he's trying to kill himself. And the way that he's doing that is he won't pick up a book and read. He will not feed himself good food. He will not exercise. He will not do physical therapy. And it's all in his head. He's intentionally and he's deciding these things daily, and it's drastically changed the trajectory of his life. And I know there's been people in his situation that have had, you know, these crippling disabilities, and not to say he would get his voice back, and not to say he wouldn't still be paralyzed and things like that, but he's choosing every day the direction of his life, and he's intentionally choosing to have his life go in the opposite direction, whereas before he had his goals and he was constantly striving for better things. And so it just reminds me how powerful our mind is and how powerful what our intentions are. And so I can't wait to sit down and actually write down some intentions and just, you know, really see what's next for us. Because I know that that has been what's kind of keeping me where I am for a long time, is the fact that I don't know what I want. What do I want? But not only what do I want, but why do I want those things? And, you know, the how just magically happens when you have the why. So this was a super, super powerful Zoom. I loved it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited too to go back again through this, do a new list. And actually, I want to go back through my old list and see how far I've gotten on some of these, because I know I've checked a few off, like bucket trip to Alaska, write a book, you know, some different things on there that have gotten checked off. And so I can't wait to have a new list and do this again and do it with our whole team. So, hey, I appreciate all of you guys for getting on here today. I hope you go and you take this exercise seriously, and you'll have if nothing else, you will have 4 things that you're laser focused on to get done over this next year. And I'm believing that every single one of you are going to accomplish those 4 things. So let's get started. Let's go out there and make a difference in some lives. I'll see you all Thursday morning. Have a great day.